Well, hi, Ashlyn. Welcome to your third and final counseling session.
Yeah.
A little crazy, but we've gotten to talk through quite a bit in just the last two and then this final one. So just to refresh, last time we talked about fixing it. That was our theme. Yes, good theme. And so we really just talked about wanting to be perfect for yourself, perfect for others, and living up to those expectations. Um, so I just wanted to turn around and ask you, what was your outtake from last session?
Yeah. I'd probably say the big thing that we talked about, which is what you said, was like fixing it. I feel like I have to be perfect for everybody, and also going above and beyond, like I've said in the past sessions, and also doing, if I fix something, then everything will be fine. But yeah.
Yeah. And then did you remember you had homework?
Nope, I totally forgot.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's
you know what? It's just like school. So yeah, I just asked if you had time throughout the week to go through, and if you noticed certain times when those thoughts were prevalent, just to record those down, and then if you had those thoughts, if there are certain things. So put you on the spot a little bit. What are some situations that came up throughout this last week where those thoughts were prevalent?
Yeah, there weren't as many as they have been, which is really exciting. I'm thankful for that. I think one of them was like I was at Walmart with one of my roommates, and she and I had some like miscommunication on something, and so I just got really upset because I was like, "Come on, like this is something that we're supposed to be, talking about working through," and so I just got really mad, and then I was like, oh, "Shoot, I need to like fix it," and so I was like. I just like overcompensated pretty much, and it was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I hope like you can forgive me. Here's all the things I can do for you today. Like let me make up for it. So that was one of them, and then the other one that I can like really could tell is like just like throughout my day, pretty much it was just like, wow, I have so much going on, and I can't do anything right because I forgot things, or I was being like not a good listener, but like just wasn't paying enough attention, and so like little things like here and that were happening, and I was like, man, like come on, Adam, like get on with it, like work on it. So I think those were the two biggest ones that I like really remember.
Yeah. So it kind of goes back to last week, what we were talking about with instances where you don't feel that you are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that voice starts to arise, which, I mean, nobody's perfect, so that voice would be there quite often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not as, I think it's gotten a lot better, the voice at least, and obviously the thoughts, but I think through like the counseling sessions we've had, but also thinking about it more outside of like just aware and like knowing it, realizing like, okay, no one is perfect, and I've always known that, but I'm finally connecting the lines of like from the fact that like I could never strive to be perfect and no one expects me to be perfect. So I'm kind of getting there. It's slowly. But we're making progress, so that's exciting.
Yes, progress is very exciting. It's always good to feel like it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So you said that you started to have this realization. I know we've talked about it, but the realization that nobody is perfect.
It definitely hit more now in the past week, just because of the homework, but more of the idea that I can see these big instances and situations after they happen and realize like no one was expecting me to do anything better. And I've also had to realize the best of what I like, all that I have is the best I have. And so whatever I like, that's all I have. And so I can't expect myself to push harder or try to come up with things that would make them feel better when in reality that's not at all what they want.
Yeah. I really like what you said, all I have is the best I have. I think that's a great way to look at it, and a great way to phrase it. Maybe easier said than done sometimes, but and even going back to what we said with like the homework, I know you didn't do it, but with realizing times when you were able to combat that, maybe you weren't able to combat it at that moment, but that awareness of those situations and realizing I don't have to be perfect there seems maybe I'm incorrect, seems to help the future ones.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right on. I mean, pretty much I can never, like you said, I can never get it in the moment. But after it happens, I'm like, okay, I see what I could do better in. And that's not like beating myself up. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is something that I know for the future that I can work on.
Yeah. So more constructive criticism instead of, well, criticism.
Yeah, definitely the good side of criticism and showing myself that I can do it. And I think partly probably of it was like I don't know how to change and I don't want to change, but I also wanted to change, but I didn't know how to change. And so now, like through the counseling sessions that we said and like things like that, I've been able to notice the difference of okay, this is what healthy change is, and like this is what I've wanted, and so baby steps.
Yeah, I can see even in the counseling sessions, you've had a very different change in attitude from the first time. Just even just the things you said about yourself is negative, negative, negative. Whereas now everything has been positive, 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 or this is how I can improve instead of, man, I suck at this.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm thankful for it because I don't have to be all in my head all the time about all the bad things I am or whatever and walking around like with this heavy weight on me. It's a little bit lighter. There's still some heaviness, but so much better than whenever we first started.
Yes.
Felt like so long ago.
Yes. So being able to talk and process through has helped the weight lift some.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially like expressing it to someone who you don't really know my life except for what I told you, and so being able to pour it all out and you just have to deal with it and like take it as
you don't have to see me again.
That's true. It's just been more helpful, and you don't quite understand everything that I'm going through, but you've been able to help like, okay, this is healthy for you to talk through it. So yeah, my attitude's definitely changed, and I'm happy about that because I don't want to be like mad at myself or hurt or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy for you that it sounds like things have been going better, and that hopefully with that recognition, things are going to continue to head in that way, that week by week, that weight is lifted more and more.
Yeah, I think it's also like, it's part of my thing of I need to keep it up. Like because I know I guess like the term could be relapse, but
yeah,
like I could relapse.
Counseling term.
Yeah, I could go back into something, but I think it's going to take a lot of my strength and my willing to do it, and if I want it, I have to do it.
Yeah, it's going more into depth. So you said you're worried about relapse. So,
which is such a weird term for like.
Yeah, I know it sounds like a drug addict or something.
Yeah, right.
But what are your thoughts? What are your plans that you've thought through on how can you keep from relapsing?
Yeah, that is a great question. I've like thought little about it, and I'm just like the possibility because I'm like I'm really scared to like I don't want to start over again because that is just not a healthy side of me, and I don't like that side of me. But I just like honestly, it's a great question. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I think maybe just having accountability with like friends, especially like my roommates who see me every day, and so seeing them and asking like, hey, keep me accountable when I beat myself up about this, or if I go off on you, it's not like it's not something that like I'm needing. I just like need some assurance, and but also like honestly continuing counseling probably is a good idea.
So I guess more than 3 sessions. Yeah. I think that's definitely, like, accountability is something that I think as well going back into, you've shared that it's been hard to talk to people. And I don't know if you've really gotten that chance outside of this counseling room to talk to others or not.
Yeah. My best friend knows about it, but it's still the thing of like she doesn't know.
Yeah, and your roommates.
They like are there. They just don't really know anything either.
Yeah,
I
they
don't really
might
talk
they
to them
might
about
pick
it.
up on it.
Yeah, they just knows. Yeah, the one person that really knows it is my best friend. But also, like, she also knows everything. She doesn't understand what I'm going through, but she, like I've said before, but she's still there and like still tries to help. So I talk with her about it, but it's not really helpful.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't get it.
And so you think your roommates will understand better, or just the sheer fact that you're around them most often?
I think more the sheer fact that I'm around them more often. I think that they have probably caught on, but they don't know what to do or how to like act. So I think maybe being honest with them and saying like upfront, like, hey, this is something that's going on that I haven't really shared, but I would like for you to, keep me accountable if you see this or anything.
So again, you've talked about holding roommates, not holding them accountable, having them hold you accountable. And you said, like, telling them what are some specific things your roommates that you would like them to do to hold you accountable.
Well, first off, I should probably tell them how long it's been going on and like what it consistently is of, and then like if they see anything related to like negative thought, like not thoughts because no one can really see in my head, but like negative words towards myself when I like verbalize it, or if I shut down in any way because I'm like, oh, that's when I'm going in my head. Just telling them those things of like, hey, if you notice something, like please ask, like if I'm okay or not. Like I'll be honest with you, or I'll just try to be honest with you. And some days are harder than others, just because I like to be. Sometimes I just shut down. I just get inside myself, and I'm like, no one's gonna get me out of this. Like this is punishment. This is how I'm gonna be. And so it goes back with like the last thing that I said, which was like, I need to like I want it, and so I need to continue to want that. So I need to be honest with them and tell them what's going on.
Yeah. I think that might be a scary but a huge step in being able to have that accountability. Yeah. And as well as like they're not going to hold the weight of responsibility, but they can help share it and help guide you and keep you on course.
Yeah. And like I'm part of the reason why I've never told them is just because like I felt judged. Like they don't get it. They've never have, or at least they've never expressed to me. So why would I share with somebody that doesn't know what's going on?
Yeah.
So that's what's just kind of like a little nerve wracking when I have to tell them. And like also, I'm like not a super vulnerable person, and so I don't like to share my emotions and feelings with people.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be very interesting.
You've shared them with me.
Yes, I definitely. Well, I just feel like counseling's a little bit easier, just because it's not. I don't have to see you every day.
Yeah.
You don't know me outside of this. But with them, it's like every day they see me. Like we live life together, and so it's just like there's gonna be things that they think about me that I didn't know about, or they just assume things about me, and so just different things around that. But I also know I have to trust that they care and love me the way that I am, and I can't assume what they're thinking.
Yeah. It's hard not to worry about the assumptions people make. It's very easy to be scared anytime you tell somebody. There's going to be judgments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not easy, not fun either, and I am not one to share most of the time. So, yeah, a little scared.
Yeah, so it'll be a big step.
Yeah, it'll be a very big step, especially because they probably have no idea what's going on. Like I haven't expressed anything unless they've picked up on little things, but, they don't know me well as, like, I know myself and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it'll also be good, too, because now I have people that can help and not just, like, be by myself. And, like, my best friend already knows, but she's been, trying, and then, like, if I have other roommates, it could be helpful. But, yeah, I feel like definitely anxious about that feeling of telling them. Like, it's gotten better, like, I'm happy about that, but then having to tell someone is kind of a little bit scary and gives me a little bit of anxiety because, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. Not that I don't think they're gonna like hate me or anything. Just like the way that they perceive me could be different.
Yeah, understandably so. I could be reading something wrong here, but you've brought up having told your best friend several times and that things didn't go well, and that in turn now you're anxious about telling your roommates.
Yeah, they just don't like we don't hang out that often. Like we just live together.
Mm-hmm.
There's never really like a time we go hang out or like do anything together. I'm not really close with them, and so I want to tell them because that way there can be more people. But I mean, like my best friend and I have been friends for like 5 years now. And so like obviously she's gonna know when something's wrong or like I'm gonna tell her. But with my roommates, they're just kind of like, well, I don't really know you well enough. But I think this is good because I need the accountability, and so they're the two people that I live with, and so I'm like, well, might as well just open up. Which, I mean, I guess I hope also that they do the same thing to me, like open up, but I don't know.
Yeah, that vulnerability in turn inspires vulnerability in others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Which in turn builds trust.
Yes, and like we have like the small, like, I don't know, the like surface level trust of like, hey, like I trust you not to say anything or like take my laundry out whenever I need it or things like that. But it's nothing ever like emotional or deep, and I don't like that stuff. It just kind of makes me a little bit anxious, like I've said before. But it's not my favorite thing, so.
So emotions are scary.
Yeah, not fun either.
Mm-hmm.
They make me. I'm just weird. Just like feel weird. But I also know like they're good. That's like one side of my brain telling me is like it's good, and the other side's like don't say them. They don't need to know anything. So
yeah. So when you kind of went back into like brain saying things with emotions, can you narrate for me? Is that similar or different to what your brain says with the negative thoughts? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I think with the negative thoughts, it is more of like my heart knowing the truth, and then my mind's like, you did all these things wrong, and here's why. And then with like the emotion thing, it's like one side's like, yes, emotion is healthy and it's good for you, and you can share and be vulnerable. And the other side's like, exit, leave right now. Like there's no good that's gonna come from this. Like it's scary and they will reject you. And so I guess like part of it actually goes, I think, into like the emotion, which could cause. I mean, that's like could cause negative thoughts and in the way of like, oh, they could reject you, and then it just spirals into like you are a bad person and so I think that's like they have connection. I just never thought about that.
Yeah. Almost that showing emotion in turn is also a form of maybe you're showing you're not perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that I never thought of until now. But very true, because I like to have that outside perspective of I'm perfect, even though I know I'm not.
Yep. And those hard emotions especially usually come because you're having to say that you are struggling.
Yeah. It's not a fun time, like I've said before, but definitely what you just said is right on.
Yeah.
Which I hate.
Yeah.
But it's true.
So I see why it's scary, because you're having to go tell somebody that you are not perfect.
Which I feel like they're just gonna laugh, because obviously we all know that, but it's just like harder for me. And that's partly why I don't want to tell people, because they like can like not laugh at me, but they're like, well, duh, like obviously you're not perfect. Like just I guess making fun of me in that way, and so it's like there's more of an internal thing there than I think most people could understand, which is why it's hard to tell people because they don't understand.
Yeah, almost a fear of embarrassment.
Yeah, it's a good word for it. Definitely exposing. I mean, like exposing myself, like being vulnerable, and saying like I struggle with this, and then someone being like, that's dumb. Like, why do you feel that way?
Kind of going round circle back to judgments again is really what it sounds like in the end.
I think they're all tied together.
Yeah.
Emotions, negative thoughts, like everything. It's all just, it just looks different, and it all comes out at like the same time, I feel like.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But I know it's good for me, and I know it'll be okay one day. It's
One
just
day.
hard to get there.
So with a lot of positivity this time.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like I've seen the growth that I've had. I just want to keep that, which we've talked about before. But yeah, one step at a time.
And that's the key right there. One step at a time. It's baby steps. Maybe it's not going to be big growth, and you know what? I don't know if you've heard this phrase or not, but we grow through hurt. Growth isn't fun usually. Growth is pushing yourself.
Yeah. I feel like I have to do that all the time, which is good for me.
Yeah.
I like that. Like you had said, that growth is like it's new. It's normal. Like you have to grow, and I think we just. I don't know. For me, I think I saw growing, like obviously physically, but then I think more of like I don't know. You can always mature. You can always
Yeah.
get healthier, but I feel like at some point I think there's like you stop growing, but which is not true. Like you don't.
Is it
but,
stop growing or you settle?
Oh. Probably settle because yeah, you never stop crying, but definitely. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the settle because I think it's easier. It's more comfortable that way.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to be comfortable than growing pains.
Yeah. So growing pains is what it's going to take.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's just that weird, uncomfortable time.
I can tell you're nervous, but I do believe in you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous. But I feel like exposing myself is like I'm bearing my like soul to the world of like here's everything that I feel like is wrong with me. But I know it's a good thing. And maybe like somebody else is struggling with it too, and I can talk to them about it. But
Yeah. And that's something even very first counseling session you brought up, that you hoped through your struggles that one day when you've surmounted them or you've gotten further down the road that you could help somebody in your shoes.
yeah, it would be really helpful because then I could know that there's a purpose behind this and not just like me going through it for no reason.
I'm very excited to see how this goes. We are at our time for today's session. So we talked today kind of more that strategic plan, putting it into action of seeking accountability, maybe some fears that go with that, and just kind of long term looking at that positive outlook and continuing to take those baby steps into eliminating those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
So how does it feel?
Kind of scary, but good at the same time. Like
Yeah.
excited to go, but definitely still nervous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice working with you.
Yeah, you too.
And peacing out.
We're done!
Woo! We're at 24 minutes.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know.
We were right at 20. I was like, oh, there's a place to wrap it up.